Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna be talking about some really cool stuff. So, pretty much, I figured some stuff out, right? So I say that something is possible, and someone else says, no, it is not possible. Because it is unethical for me to continue believing something when someone else doesn't understand it. Because if it happens and they don't recognize it, then it can mess up their mind, right? They become a false authority. However, this false authority doesn't know how to justify its own occurrence. So, therefore, its own occurrence, because there's no explanation for it, is impossible. But let's move on, right? It refuses to accept what it cannot control. But I know that because this false authority just can't explain what's going on, it cannot accept that what I'm saying is correct, right? So here's what goes on, right? So we have the bet massing, right? The bet mass, right? They say I'm wrong, I say I'm right. Now, obviously I'm right, I can explain it, I can justify it. But they say it hasn't been happening and it doesn't make sense. But let's put to them in parentheses, right? Plus, they don't want it because they want to have control over everything and all that stuff, right? So here's what goes on. I bet it, and while I'm betting it, they're betting against it. While I'm massing towards it, like this, right? While I'm massing towards it, they're massing against it. They're like, no, it's not real. That ain't happening. That shit ain't happening, right? All right, so here's what goes on. Because I'm right, I can keep going forever. Because they're wrong, they can't. And they have this little meter down here of how much mass they have before they collapse, before they can no longer make sense of what they're doing and fall apart, right? This is when they start resorting to two strategies. One, they'll just start saying things that are true and saying, see, I'm still standing. But all they've done is reduce their bets to just saying things that have happened and then standing on that. And then saying that you can't do anything because it means they're not wrong, right? And so that's a dead strategy. It doesn't work. Here's another thing they do. They use time constraints. Now, this is when they know that they're running out of time, that they're running out of mass, and that what I'm saying still makes sense despite all of this. And so they put on the show. They say, this is getting boring. I'm sick of waiting. You said this was going to happen. They say this while actively massing against it occurring. And so, if it has not happened a little bit, which it'll start to logically make sense. It'll start to happen in tiny ways, but because it is not happening in the big way, they'll say that it hasn't actually happened, that it's a trick, that you have to try to see it, right? They'll say, you need to do it right now before they run out, or else I'm king. And I'm king means I don't have to respect anything you can say. I can fuck your wife. I can take your shit. That's all that shit means, right? And so here's what goes on, right? Here's the whole thing. I make an argument. These people that cannot even justify their own existence, I make an argument that something is possible. They say, according to what I've seen, it's not possible. I say, what you've seen is just reacting to not knowing anything. You've just been falling through life at this point. You've been unbalanced and just reacting to what has been happening because of people like me, people who make things possible. You haven't been reacting to natural physics. You've been reacting to the physics of what we all think is possible colliding with each other. And so these guys can't prove anything. They just say, I only know what I know, and I want to have control over everything, and you can't, right? And so they mass against it, and while they're massing against it, it happens a little bit, but not enough for them to be forced to accept it, right? They'll say, no, he's trying. No, he's forcing it. No, you got to try to see it. Man, he's just doing this. He's just doing this. He's just doing this. And they don't accept it, right? They don't accept that as evidence, right? But because this is actually proving things and it keeps making sense in these weird triggers that just goes beyond what everybody knows and understands in that moment, they realize that they're running out of mass because they're ignoring too many things. They're saying that too many things, they're dismissing too many things and are thus becoming unstable. And they know that, and so they're starting to collapse. And once they realize that they're only having a collapse going forward, they use time constraints. You need to do it right now or else I'm fucking done with this and I don't respect you and no one has to respect you anymore and I can control you, right? And so they do that, and then while they're doing that, they put the best of their mass, the rest of it in, and they time this. They know what they're doing. They know. They put the rest of their mass in to keep it from happening at all, and then once it doesn't happen because they massed against it, via the ethical rule that they need to understand it or accept it in order for it to occur, they say, I'm king, he didn't do it, I fucking told y'all this shit was fake, right? I fucking told you that that life is just nonsense and you just have to go with it. And I guess I'm right. I'm sorry. I guess I'm right. You just have to go with what's right. And I guess I'm right. My bad, guys. Can you take your clothes off, you guys? All right, so all that shit, right? And so yeah, fuck these guys. They know what they're doing. Hey, do I kind of look like Michael Jackson? I don't know. You guys put that idea in my head. Ah! Ah! Ah!